Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke, and welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we read the, nyctophobic nocturnal predator, intrusive arachnid thoughts, ghost in the machine, forgetful goldfish, and medieval bootstrap program. In this episode, we're going to be reading The Elevator to Nowhere, The Viral Cat, The Roaring One, Distorted Man, and Lucid Beams. But first, the reaction I got to not reading the logs about the forgetful fish was, "Oh, those are hilarious," so I said I'd go back for it. Okay, Experiment A. Subject, disposable someone, instructed to feed 634. They enter the room and approach. He reaches for it. The subject appears momentarily confused, looks at fish food, nods head. Subject gives 634 one serving of fish food, finishes eating the food. Expresses confusion over what he's supposed to be doing. He looks at the fish food, nods head, gives a serving of fish food. It finishes the food. Confused. Looks at it, nods. Food. Finishes. The pattern repeats for every 70 seconds for the next 22 minutes. Experiment halted when they ran out of fish food. 634 shows no signs of discomfort or injury due to the large amount of food eaten. Subject showed no lasting effects of the experiment. They kept 1 month for psychological testing, showing no other signs of memory loss or impairment. Experiment B. Is it the same disposable dude? Instructed to place hand in tank. Enters room, approaches. Becomes mildly confused at a distance of 1.5 meters, pauses to check his pocket, shrugs, and continues to approach. Reaches 634. Confusion increases, asks what he was supposed to do. Prompted to place hand in tank. Places his hand, this 634 bites his index finger. He curses and removes his hand from the tank. Complains of a burning sensation. Places right hand in the tank. Appears to feel a decrease in pain. Bites the index finger. Curses, removes. Complains of burning sensation. This pattern repeats approximately every 90 seconds for the next 20 minutes. He's instructed to leave. He walks towards the door. He reaches a distance of 2 meters from 634, pauses, audibly recalls that he was supposed to do something to 634, and turns to approach 634. Again prompted to leave, continues to be prompted until he reaches the door, treated for injuries to hand. Subject expresses confusion over why he would continue to repeatedly put hand in the tank when the fish kept biting him, but otherwise showed no lasting effects. Kept 1 month for psychological testing, showing no other signs of memory loss or impairment. So the first one. Oh, I should probably feed them. What am I doing? Oh, hey, fish food. I should feed them. What am I doing? Fish food, feed. And the other one. What am I doing? Put your hand in the tank. Ow! That hurt. Ow! That hurt. Ow! That hurt. Okay, so yeah. Now then, moving on to the elevator to nowhere. It's Euclid. The building containing 636 has been officially condemned for supposed mold contamination and a lot fenced off to prevent unwanted intrusion. A minimum of 2 armed undercover guards are to be posted at ground level, and any unauthorized individuals attempting to enter the building must be detained and questioned. Any experimentation on 636 must only be performed with prior permission from at least 2 level 3 personnel. SCP-636 is a maintenance elevator at the blank blank hotel located at Data Expunged. Unlike other elevators in the building, it contains a magnetic card reader, which when used with a specific key card, or card key, will cause the elevator to move to a 3rd sub-basement beneath the building. According to the building plan, there are only 2 sub-basements beneath the building, and the owner of the property was not aware of an elevator with magnetic card access. Whenever any individual attempts to access this floor via 636, the elevator appears to work normally. However, upon reaching the non-existent floor, all contents of the elevator, including any personnel or remote monitoring equipment, will disappear. Exploration of the elevator shaft itself has yielded no useful information. While the shaft does extend to a 3rd basement level, there are only blank walls at that depth, and video cameras placed within the shaft have shown no unusual activity when the elevator reaches the bottom. Furthermore, 636 will periodically move to the 3rd sub-basement level on its own. Upon its return to the ground floor, the elevator car has occasionally contained anomalous objects as documented below. 636 came to the Foundation's attention on blank blank 2000 something following the disappearance of 2 elevator mechanics during routine maintenance of the building's elevator systems. A 2-man initial exploration team was sent into 636 and subsequently lost, after which the site was placed on lockdown and the owner and all witnesses given Class A amnestics. Current containment procedures were put into effect shortly afterwards. Addendum 1, Log of Notable Anomalous Events. On blank blank 2000 something, 636 was called to the bottom floor for approximately 6 minutes before returning to ground floor. Upon its return, the fully disassembled parts of 2 helmet-mounted video cameras were found on the floor of the elevator car. Analysis of the components confirms that they belong to the members of the initial exploration team. Memory cards and recording data or media of the cameras were blank. Blank blank 2000 something. S636 called for approximately 2 minutes before returning to the ground floor. According to the testimony of the armed guards stationed at the ground floor, the walls of the elevator car were covered with hundreds of human eyeballs that tracked them for several seconds before the doors closed and the elevator was recalled to the bottom floor again. It was found empty afterwards. It returned after 4 minutes and 17 seconds and contained approximately 11 kilograms of shredded Egyptian cotton fabric soaked with blood. Analysis of the blood samples are inconclusive, as recovered DNA does not seem to match that of any known terrestrial animal. 2000-something teen. 636 returned after 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Upon opening, a naked and emaciated man, later identified as Agent Blank of the initial exploration team, began pounding on the buttons and screaming that he had to go back! Agent Blank managed to disarm and kill one armed guard and injure the other before running back into 636 and disappearing. Alright. So, the viral cat. Is it like viral like internet cat, or viral like it's a sickness and you should stay away from it? Well, it's safe! When inactive, 637 is contained entirely within the consciousness of 637-2. 2 is to be held at Site 17 in a low-security room. Anything it requests is to be given as long as it does not violate standard procedure. However, any requests for pencils, pens, sketchpads, or any marking implement are to be denied and reported to Dr. Blank. The issue has been raised that if 2 wanted marking devices, it could use a fluid such as blood or urine, but the subject has not displayed a marked interest in drawing. It is agreed, however, that it is wise not to tempt fate. Subject is to be fed 3 times per day and whenever it requests food. SCP-637-2 is an elderly Caucasian woman of approximately 65 years of age who calls herself Margie. Margie has been described by staff as polite and old lady-ish, if a little confused. She spends much of her time in a semi-catatonic state with occasional lapses of lucidity. 2 is the host of 637, a psychic organism which subsists entirely in 2's mind. 637 is described by its host as a little black cat, skinny fellow, real easygoing. Although the creature normally resides in a blank space in the subject's mind, it is capable of residing for several minutes as a drawn item on paper, wood, or other substance. If any sapient organism not previously carrying 637 ceases to reproduction, the vanish will vanish, and 637 will take up residence in the new subject's mind. Based on information gathered from 2 and disposable 67308, see Document A, the organism behaves exactly as a normal cat, and its host is always capable of describing what it is currently doing and where it is within their head. 2 shows affection for the theoretical creature. 2 does not recall where she saw 637 originally, so it is assumed to have been living in her mind for some time. Addendum. Dr. Blank believes the creature could be useful, including the possibility of mass-producing the cat and adapting it for use in psychic warfare as a means of crippling the subject, and plans to continue testing on other subjects. If no uses are found for 637, then it's believed that it will die when its host does. Unless further experimentation is warranted, it is recommended that we prevent 2 from releasing 637 onto paper in order to maintain the good mental condition of our agents. Document A. Subject disposable 67308 was exposed to the image of the organism drawn by 2. They gained a disheveled appearance and made several comments like, "Nothing works. Is it working? Want the cat out? Nice kitty." When the subject was informed that it would be placed in quarantine for 24 additional hours, it reacted violently and swore at the guards for several minutes before lapsing into a semi-catatonic state. The subject's behavior was deemed non-harmful. The subject was moved into a low-security dormitory on the site. After 12 hours, the subject unexpectedly self-terminated using the broken edge of a ceramic dish provided with its meal. The subject was observed making several loud remarks such as, "Get the cat out! I want the cat out! Leave me alone!" and commenting that the organism was a brain-sucking parasite before death. It's worth noting that at approximately the same time as their termination, 2, who had been sleeping at the time, sat straight up and exclaimed, "Kitty's back!" The Roaring One. Of course it's Keter! Why wouldn't something called the Roaring One be Keter? Look how ominous that sounds! It's not the Roaring One, it's not, hey, it's the Roaring One, it's the Roaring One. And it probably causes the Distorted Man. I mean, look at that. That is a Distorted Man if I ever saw one. So, let me, SCP-638 is to remain in lockdown at Site 33 at all times. Female personnel are not to interact with 638 in any way, nor come within 30 meters of its containment cell. Its cell is 10 meters by 15 meters. Ongoing attempts at operant conditioning of 638 incorporates rewards and punishment through room furnishings. It has responded well to this conditioning, despite an incident in which it seems it disengaged the nature of the conditioning and became enraged. Any of these items may be removed as a result of misbehavior by 638. its containment cell currently contains 20 inches of dirt over the concrete floor covered in grass, 3 potted olive trees, 1 trellis of common ivy, botanical grow lights, and automatic watering system to maintain the grass and other plants. 638 has special dietary concerns. It seems unwilling or unable to ingest any cooked food. Testing determined that raw meat from any mammal will sustain 638. It also demands wine constantly, though it is restricted as a special reward. SCP-638 appears to be a male human of slim build, hairless and extensively scarred. It is covered almost completely in burn scars resulting from data expunged. While 638 has been shown to heal at an abnormal rate, directly proportional to 638's consumption of raw flesh and wine, the scar tissue remains and hair has not regrown. 638 seems to understand English and is responsive to commands, but it is either unable or unwilling to reply. It has issued demands, but these come in the form of 1 or 2 word shouts in the Boeotian subdialect of Aeolic Ancient Greek. To date, 638 has demanded wine, ivy, olive trees, grass for the floor, freedom, women, live animals, a drum, a flute, and a view of the sky. Initially, it became violent upon not being appeased, demonstrating great strength and speed in short bursts. 638 is responsible for the deaths of several security personnel and staff members, including Dr. Blank. When completely enraged, 638 has been able to dent steel with blows, easily lift and throw a grown man, and break restraints. When enraged, 638 has also demonstrated the ability to shout with great volume and force, shattering glass and deafening personnel. These shouts vary in intensity, with the strongest having blown a steel door off its hinges. Audio analysis of its voice and shouts has revealed similarities and resonance to the calls of several animals, including male lions and bears, as well as certain bird calls. These outbursts invariably lead to periods of lethargy if the subject's hunger and thirst are not satisfied, so starvation has been used effectively as a behavioral control when coercion fails. 638 has demonstrated a strong psychic or empathic influence over women within an estimated radius of 20 meters. Any females entering within this range will be compelled to be in 638's presence, and once there will lose all inhibition. This manifests differently in each subject depending on their personality and fashion. One commonality is their tendency to dance and jump and shout in a wild fashion. If allowed to persist, the subjects will dance until they drop from exhaustion and are physically unable to continue. Attempts to remove female subjects from 638's presence result in violent responses from both 638 and all affected subjects. Once successfully removed from the range of the effect, subjects just demonstrate full memory of their actions, and if they did something they would otherwise not have done, as is often the case, they feel intensely ashamed and will not willingly approach 638 again. It has on several occasions used the affected subjects in order to attempt escape. Affected subjects demonstrate greater than normal physical strength and agility, and post-mortem examination revealed elevated levels of adrenaline, as well as an unknown chemical compound consisting of data expunged. 638 seems to control the subject's actions through some form of mental suggestion, as there's no verbal communication. Research into the possibility of telepathy is ongoing. SCP-638 was discovered in the smoldering remains of a mountain compound and data expunged, barely alive. Though no other survivors were found, the remains of 15 presumably human females were uncovered in the ruins. Too little of the remains survived data expunged for a full autopsy, but skeletal remains showed no abnormalities. 638 has given no indication that there were any others of its kind present at the compound, but this is not certain. Interrogation in conjunction with extreme nutrient deprivation revealed that others do exist, though they do not form communities apart from their groups of enthralled women. To date, the subject has not revealed the location of any others, but interrogation is ongoing. And that brings us to the Distorted Man, and I'll be kind of surprised if this one's not also Keter. It's safe though, and looks terrifying. Note the heavy distortion caused by effect. I mean, I imagine they wouldn't be able to wear clothes. 639 is to be kept in a standard containment cell measuring 3 by 3 meters, furnished with whatever the subject requires so long as the items do not threaten security. It should not leave the containment area without an escort of at least 1 security guard. It should not be allowed to mingle with site personnel. SCP-639 is a Caucasian male, approximately 1.6 meters in height and weighing 78 kilograms, age 24. 639 is viewed simultaneously on all angles regardless of the viewer's position. Being in front of the figure will have a view of his front, back, sides, and so forth. Attempts to capture the subject in any sort of photographic medium use a heavily distorted figure, as shown in the attached image. Exposure to 639 causes extreme eye strain and mild paranoia, with subjects reporting not knowing if he was coming or going, or what he was even looking at. Effects do not persist once 639 is removed. It should be noted that 639 observes the whole of the world in the same fashion that it observes him, that is, all objects are apparently seen from all angles at once, which seems to have caused extreme paranoia as well as a host of associated mental illnesses. 639 was recovered in Blank, Texas from the Blank County Mental Hospital. They were picked up under the care of Dr. Blankety Blank, who alerted the Foundation May 12, 2000-something. 639 was picked up by Agents Blank and Blank under the guise of a medical transfer. Class C amnestics were administered to the staff. It was transferred to Site Blank, where he is currently being kept. Okay, so they're going by he instead of it. Because sometimes, even if it's a human and they know what gender it is, they'll still say it instead of their gender. So I'm never really sure if I'm supposed to be saying he or she or it when it comes to the Foundation. I guess it just comes down to whoever writes the articles. Addendum, following interviews by Dr. Blankety Blank. Interview 639. Interviewer Dr. Blank Blank Blank. Initial interview with 639, Dr. Blank interacted with 639 via use of an external speaker system to reduce visual stress. Hello, 639. I am Dr. Blank. Unintelligible muttering. 639. 639. They think to see me to see that which I am will be that is all of me to see. Subject 639. I'm Dr. Blank. Do you understand? 15-second pause. Where are you? Not above, not below, front or behind. Neither to the left nor the right, but straight along the path of righteousness. Where are you? Where? 639, I'd like to ask you some questions. You are not real. What do you... I see all the world. The things, that which is there, all sides, all that is and was and will be there. I see you, not know you, not therefore you are not. Are you not? Another voice, a new voice to hear with mortal ears and no godly eyes. 639. Which direction are you currently facing? Laughing points. Due to effect, this is less than helpful. You are facing every direction simultaneously. I see all that is and was and will be from all sides and angles and points, and yeah, I think we're done here. Final notes. Definite signs of serious mental illness. Thinks that the interviewer is not real unless physically present to be seen, but as that causes serious visual and mental stress to the interviewer, I do not recommend it. Note, I was wrong. Just facing away from it seems to negate the visual stress, although interviewing someone while facing away from them is awkward. Still preferable to the alternative. Interview log B. Disposable dude 639-9, interviewer Dr. Blank. Initial interview to establish the effect of 639 on disposable dudes. Hello D39, or 639-9, I'm Dr. Blank. Hello? If you would, please describe your encounter with the subject. You mean I don't even know what to call that, Doc. Blank, man, that thing was like, it was like, you know when you're in a fun house and they got all the mirrors around you? Indeed. It was like someone took all the reflections from all the different mirrors and stacked them one on top of the other, but I don't know how to, please try. Alright. Can I get some aspirin or something? Gave me a killer headache, please. Fine, whatever. Like, if you stacked all the reflections but you could see them all by themselves, like one by one, but you saw them all at the same time? That's the best I can do, Doc. I see. Was there anything else? Any sort of emotional response you felt? Sudden compulsions? Anything like that? Well, I guess so. I mean, he was looking at me, right? But he wasn't looking at me because he was facing the other way, but both ways at once? I just felt paranoid as blank, Doc. I don't know if he was coming or going. I didn't even know if he noticed me or what he was looking at. And he hurt to see. Gave me a headache, right? Please, can I get a glass of water or something? Certainly, I have everything I need. The guard will see you back to your cell. Begins to leave but pauses. There was one other thing. Yes? I'm not sure, but I think he was crying. Closing statement. 639-9 kept in solitary confinement to determine whether 639 caused any sort of mimetic or mental effect. None surfaced over the course of the quarantine and the subject was terminated on schedule. That's never not going to be messed up. Lucid beams! I wonder what I was about to ask, I wonder what lucent means. I'm gonna see what lucent means. Glowing with or giving off light. The moon was lucent in the background. Oh, so like the opposite of translucent. Alright. Also, apparently there's a place called Lucent Technologies in Murray Hill, New Jersey. Isn't Murray Hill the textbook people? I didn't know that Murray Hill was also a place. Huh. Anyway. SCP-640 is to be kept inside an ellipsoidal room with a uniformly reflective interior such as nickel or chromium plating. The atmosphere of the room must be maintained at a temperature of between 260 and 307 Kelvin, at a relative humidity of 50% or less. Temperatures and humidities outside these limits greatly increase the entity's appetite, and aggression will likely result in personnel casualties. The confinement chamber must be equipped with a tight airlock fitting equipped with an electronic interlock to prevent both doors from being simultaneously opened. Though 640 is not known to be able to assume a gaseous form, these doors should be airtight and, if possible, watertight to facilitate emergency containment measures. All personnel entering the containment facility must wear reflective suits, including anti-IR face shields. Exposure time shall be limited to no more than 30 minutes without O5 level consent. All personnel shall receive a dose of amphetamine, modafinil, or caffeine prior to exposure. Resistance, intolerance, or allergy to these drugs is an absolute contraindication to assignment to the 640 study team. Description: SCP-640 is a free-roaming sentient electromagnetic phenomenon, typically manifesting as several roughly circular spots of yellow-orange light between 18 to 57 millimeters in diameter, not meters, oh geez, depending on the entity's current appetite and energy level. It has also been observed to manifest as spots of infrared and EHF radiation, and seems capable of rapidly varying its wavelength. In all known instances, 640 has disguised itself as spots of sunlight shining on a wall, typically inside a child's room. It generally fades from view, presumably by shifting into the IR or RF range when closely investigated. It is carnivorous. While it is capable of deriving sustenance from all known Earth animals, 640 shows a marked preference for humans and apes, especially children. It consumes its prey by inflicting burns of varying intensity and depth. For as yet unknown reasons, 640 tends to target the face, legs, and forearms of its prey. It also often feeds on the same prey repeatedly, allowing it time to heal between attacks. The entity prefers to attack sleeping prey, though if angry, hungry, or frightened, it will not hesitate to attack prey while awake. When it wishes, it can inflict fatal burn injuries to an adult human within approximately 120 seconds. An attempt to destroy 640 using a reflective room and a 25 GCD flash lamp has failed. However, testing revealed that a reflective room is effective in disrupting the entity's feeding. As multiple specimens of 640 have surfaced, an effective means of neutralization is being sought. The Foundation does not currently believe it is necessary to contain more than a few specimens in light of the resources required. Recovery notes: the first 640 specimen was recovered from the home of blank blank in blank Japan in 1984 after both his children were admitted to a local hospital with severe burn injuries. The Foundation was alerted by an anonymous source believed to be working for Redacted. Foundation agents discovered the entity after several weeks of probing, during which time one of the children was killed by the entity. Agents managed to capture it using data expunged and transported it to Site 17 for containment. A second specimen was recovered in blank blank United States in 1999 and another in 2006, both in the same neighborhood. Addendum A. Reports from Australia suggest there is at least one 640 specimen in the wild somewhere in blank and likely another in blank. Agents are currently attempting to locate and contain the entities. Addendum B. In two separate incidents, 640 was observed to distract researchers, causing them to have accidents resulting in breach of suit integrity. Following suit breach, both researchers were fatally attacked by 640. Research team lead has recommended that 640 be provisionally assigned Keter classification pending further investigation to determine whether the entity's actions were deliberate or fortuitous. Addendum C. Provisional Keter classification denied. Object has been returned to Euclid classification. Well then, that was strange. So that I'm also not 100% sure why the roaring one really counts as Keter, because it sounds like all they need to do is keep him locked in a room and not interact with him at all, and nothing bad will happen. Because if they don't feed him, he doesn't have the strength to breach containment. If women stay away from him, he won't have a harem of super powerful women. So all they really need to do is lock him in a dark box somewhere and leave him there. So I'm really not sure why that's Keter. Especially if it's a really strong dark box, like something really dense. And then if he tries to roar to free himself, he'll just rupture his own eardrums, and then that'll just be even safer. So really not sure why that's Keter, because I honestly feel like they could just stop that. Unless it's Keter because there's more of them and they don't know where they are. In any case, this has been Anashi Sasuke. This is episode 137 of Let's Read the SP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we're going to cover the pacifier, the hot springs, the delicious chocolates, Mr. Hot, and Mouth of Truth. So we got a couple of hot things, a couple of mouth things, some delicious chocolate, and one of them is Dr. Wondertainment. So, if you liked it, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later!